testimony of alleged victim Mia testifying under a pseudonym. There is a lot to break down with respect to her direct testimony, her cross-examination by the defense. Remember yesterday, she testified that she was verbally, physically, sexually assaulted by Sean Combs, goes to potentially forced labor as the underlying crime of racketeering. Remember, prosecutors have to prove at least 2 underlying crimes of racketeering. Forced labor is one of them. I also think her testimony goes to this pattern of criminal.
Janice Combs was the name that made the entire courtroom quiet. Who precisely is Diddy's mother in this violent empire? And why might the evidence of someone who was formerly thought of as Diddy's right-hand man be the crucial element that brings the entire Combs family to its knees during the federal court this morning in Manhattan? The real bombshell wasn't what Diddy had done, but rather the name Mia kept repeating Janice Combs. Diddy's own mother, when the unexpected witness, who had once been thought of as Diddy's fiercely loyal confidant, came forward with a suitcase full of documents, audio recordings, and long-buried secrets.
Producer Tim Dog Patterson, he alleged that Janice, Diddy's mom, would often throw parties at Diddy's childhood home.
Rejuvenate you. She likes, allegedly, to have threesomes with her son. You know how you and your son play with my friend underage.
In the public eye, Janice was portrayed as a kind, elderly mother. But now she is revealed as a crafty mastermind who works behind the scenes and subtly transforms Sean Combs into a tool of power. Who would stop at nothing to build an empire based on violence, wealth, and silence? Could it be that the public never viewed Diddy's mother as a threat? The truth is coming to light one layer at a time, and the name, Janice Combs, who was previously only known as the defendant's mother, may now hold the key to revealing the startling reality of this explosive case. Is Mia's betrayal an act of brave defiance for justice? Or was it directed by a force even more powerful than Diddy himself?
I've lived in fear for far too long. Diddy and his mother Janice backed me into a corner. They thought they could silence me, but today I'm here to tell the truth, the whole truth, no matter how painful it is. I'm not just doing this for myself, but for all the women they turned into pawns, the voiceless victims.
A woman who was known only as Mia, pseudonym to protect. Her identity took the witness stand. And as she did, a thick silence fell over the courtroom, thick with the tension of an approaching storm. Whispers rippled through the crowd, and Mia, Diddy's trusted assistant for 7 long years, stood there like a ticking time bomb. Mia was more than just a witness. She was a survivor who had witnessed and endured the darkest secrets of the Combs family for almost 10 years. She was there with a steely gaze and shaking hands. Her testimony wasn't just an accusation. Rather, it was a razor-sharp blade that sliced through the Combs family's polished exterior to reveal a truth that left the world in shock. Diddy Combs, the titan of music, was his mother, who was the genius behind his criminal empire. The real puppeteer, and the one who molded the monster that is Diddy. Janice Combs is not the pathetic mother crying innocently in the media. A vicious Madam Janice was a crafty manipulator who was masterminding a terrifying network of criminal activity.
Made a comment saying that Diddy is not a monster.
Yeah, he's not a monster. She is. But I don't want to go there. But she is. She's the fucking monster. Everything else fucking name. She's the monster. She created that. I don't want to go there. The fucking satanic behind all this. It's her. It's her, bro. It's her. She is his. I can't even explain it, bro. She just ain't no, she the devil, bro. That's how I see it. She the devil. Janice Combs is the fucking devil.
Janice Combs isn't just Diddy's mother. She's the cunning mastermind, the architect behind every heinous act. Diddy may be the monster in the public's eyes, but it was Janice who forged him, carefully steering him step by step into the...
With chilling accuracy and calculated ruthlessness. Mia's compelling testimony in court revealed that Janice was more than just a mother hiding in the shadows. She was the linchpin and the very heart of a criminal empire founded on the blood and tears of young women. She personally selected the victims, who were ambitious young dancers full of she preyed on the most fragile, dreaming, inexperienced female assistants who were hardly old enough to understand the ways of the world. Mia said, her voice breaking with pain, that many girls had nowhere to turn, some with just a middle school education, and that they were readily influenced by the promises of a bright future and Hollywood glitz.
Modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more a brothel that she ran for high-profile drug dealers.
Under that glittering exterior, Janice was a formidable woman and a successful businesswoman who ran a prestigious modeling agency that was widely advertised as a launching pad for young talent. However, underneath that glittering exterior, the company was nothing more than a sophisticated front for a transnational call girl operation. From major American cities to global entertainment centers, Janice's network turned young women into instruments to satiate the evil cravings of the privileged. Mia said how the words seemed to tear her heart apart, tears flowing down her face.
Diddy, those girls weren't human beings. They were commodities, carefully packaged gifts to be traded with heavyweights from powerful politicians and entertainment moguls to shadowy billionaires, all in exchange for multi-million-dollar deals or to solidify ties.
Rather than being extravagant events, Diddy's notorious freak-off parties, where ladies from Janice's network were brought, were cruel arenas, where victims were forced to serve during exhausting ordeals that lasted for days or even weeks. Mia narrated in a voice laden with eerie memories. Each girl for these parties was hand-selected by Janice, who carefully examined each one's appearance, age, and manner to make sure it matched the tastes of the VIP clientele. Some girls were recruited due to their innocence, while others were coerced into meeting much darker and more sinister requirements.
There's a video of him and his mother. They're really talking about sex.
Janice saw each girl as a pawn on the Combs family's power chessboard, skillfully placed, to obtain money or receive protection from powerful people. With a voice full of furious rage, Mia said that if a VIP was, they occasionally paid an additional fee for the gift of a female in addition to signing lucrative deals.
The art of business, but to me it was unforgivable.
Cole's slyness extended well beyond setting up the network. Personally managed every aspect of the illegal enterprise, from choosing victims and closing deals to making sure no information ever leaked to the public. With a scathing grin and piercing eyes, she controlled everything like a master strategist, transforming young girls' dreams into unavoidable nightmares and never leaving a trace. Every action she took was carefully thought out.
Speak out. Janice made sure they vanished, not just from the entertainment industry, but from the face of the...
According to Mia's testimony, what was even more horrifying was what was concealed behind the lavish mansion of the Combs family. Beyond the glittering lights of lavish parties was a chilling secret that festered in a den of captivity under Janice Combs' direct supervision, where dozens of young women were held. In court, Mia disclosed that this den, which Janice dubbed the warehouse, was more than simply a chilly basement. It was a subterranean jail where girls were dehumanized and used as instruments to satiate the sinister cravings of VIP clients at any given time. When Mia recalled, her voice sounded as though it were being choked by the recollection.
Top down there, it was a living hell, a place where light, hope, and humanity itself were snuffed out.
It was impossible to comprehend how cruel the conditions in the cellar were. Only 2 meals a day, typically a bowl of weak soup and a few slices of old bread, were provided to the girls who were confined in small, dark chambers with frigid concrete walls and the oppressive smell of mildew. Mia described having tears running down her cheeks, eating too, added Janice. They would get overweight, and clients don't want girls with flaws. Some of them were so thin that they were just skin and bones, with eyes sunken from hunger and despair. But she didn't give a damn because, to her, they weren't human. They were simply goods that could be used at any time. Janice's brutality didn't stop with starvation, though. She also established a brutal system of control that made sure no girl dared to rebel,
complain, or resist. Janice would personally appear, her icy smile and voice sharp as a blade, threatening that...
Due to her refined manner and skillful manipulation, the females imprisoned in this lair were primarily the victims of false promises. With captivating stories of fame, Janice set traps for the most defenseless orphans, middle school dropouts, and people escaping dysfunctional households. Mia recalled, she held out hopes of landing modeling contracts in Hollywood and receiving huge shows, but as soon as they entered her business, everything was taken away from them, including their freedom and identification certificates. They were transported to the basement, and their lives were never again theirs. People did not find Diddy's infamous freak-off parties where these females were hauled up from the basement to be elegant events, as reported by Mia and other witnesses, such as Cassandra, Cassie, Ventura. The girls had to serve an unceasing stream of VIP clientele, politicians, business magnates, and influential entertainment personalities throughout these exhausting ordeals, which may last for days or weeks. One female passed out after going for days without sleep or rest. Mia spoke, her voice shaking with anger, while Janice simply stood. Smirking, he continued, "She's not worthy of the opportunity. She's too weak." Then, I'm not sure what kind of stimulant Diddy's guys would inject or make the ladies take, but it left them dizzy and devoid of willpower, causing them to obey like marionettes on strings while servicing VIP guests. Was presented as a perverted chance, a mirage created by controlling their victims. Janice and Diddy told them that if they were fortunate enough to attract the attention of a powerful person, they might be released from the basement and given a better life. However, as a price, some girls had to endure constant physical and psychological abuse until their bodies failed them and they were too weak to endure it. Mia described how her eyes were red and haunted, drugged to keep awake, made to endure horrors no one should ever have to go through. And if they didn't want to, Janice would show up in person with icy eyes, threatening to lock them in the basement for good or worse, to make them disappear completely.
I'm still haunted by the look in their eyes.
Mia's voice trembled as she recalled being sent to the basement to pick up the girls for their duties. They looked at me with beseeching eyes, as though I were their last hope. But I was helpless, because I was only an assistant, and I knew all too well that if I dared to resist, I'd be the next one locked up. Every step Mia took into that basement felt like a blade cutting through her heart, and I heard their faint sobs, but I had to turn a blind eye because she admitted the brutality of the den in that basement. I'll never be able to forgive myself for that. Down there, I lived in constant fear. Divided between my survival and my conscience was not only in the terrible living circumstances or the suffering experienced at those twisted freak-off parties, but also in the manner in which Janice treated those young ladies like nothing more than commodities, keeping track of them. Mia disclosed every girl's name, age, characteristics, and even their worth to each customer. She handled them like stock in a warehouse, and if a girl was no longer effective, without a second thought, Janice would throw her out, even if her cold. Calculated efficiency had transformed the Combs family basement into a place where aspirations were dashed and humanity was trampled underfoot. Mia brought a wealth of painstakingly acquired evidence with her to the witness stand. In addition to her tearful tales, which were sufficient to quiet the entire courtroom with astonishment while holding a tiny USB stick that was inconspicuous, yet packed with terrifying secrets. In one clip, secret audio recordings made using Janice's icy, razor-sharp voice and meticulously backed up from the ancient phone she used while working for the Combs family exposed the brutal reality of the family's illegal enterprise. "There is a leak. You know how I'll handle it, no mercy," said the voice, cutting through the air like a razor. Another tape showed her cunning planning as she gave her son orders, her remarks brimming with calculating coldness.
For the deal with him, she's got the look he's into. If he's pleased, that $50 million contract is...
But the USB was only the beginning. Every phrase in those recordings revealed the brutality of the Combs couple, who saw individuals as nothing more than tools to trade for cash and power. Mia showed 6 recordings that were meticulously gathered over the course of her years, from 2018 to 2022, working for Diddy. They documented his shady dealings with prominent clientele, including a strong woman whose name, Mia, suppressed out of concern for her safety, who appears in one clip haggling with Diddy over a young woman as a gift. After leaving the courtroom, another video stunned quiet at a free cough party. Janice was observed directing staff to prepare lubricants, bed linens, and even narcotics with a horrifying precision. "She didn't just know about it all," declared Mia in a voice that was shaking with indignation.
Orchestrated every detail, from picking which girl would serve to arranging the deals so flawlessly that no slip-up could ever.
Security camera footage from the Combs family's opulent mansion served as the main source of Mia's evidence. One spooky clip, taken on a dark night, showed a young girl weak and trembling, being led by a bodyguard out of the hidden basement. She didn't dare cry, but her eyes were filled with fear. Mia described tears streaming down her cheeks, and "I knew she was being taken to a judge." Arun Subramanian has shown Janice at a free cough party with a faint smile and icy gaze. She instructed staff to prepare everything like an event planner. But instead of a normal celebration, it was a cruel ordeal for the captive girls. "I was helpless to save her," and another piece of footage is said to have caused visible outrage. Mia additionally displayed a number of bank transaction logs that revealed the Combs family's complex financial network was utilized to hide their illegal activities and launder money. They called it commission. 5 shell firms, including a fashion label, a music studio, and an event planning company, were established with the sole goal of transferring gifts, either in cash or in the form of girls, to powerful individuals in business, entertainment, and politics. Mia spoke in a resentful tone of voice.
I once heard Janice boast about how one girl secured them a deal worth tens of millions. To her, every girl was just a number, a tool to bolster their power and pile up wealth.
Their hazy numbers and shady cash flows. The documents vividly depicted a criminal enterprise based on deception and exploitation. Mia sent screenshots of the communications that Diddy and Janice sent, instructing her to serve clients the chilling orders by escorting females out of the basement. The Combs duo's blatant cruelty, treating people like objects, was demonstrated by their refusal to converse or to get female number 3 ready for tonight. With a broken voice, Mia said when Mia produced a list of VIP clients who received presents from the Combs family, it caused a stir. However, Janice wasn't simply involved. She was the mastermind, controlling everything from selecting which girl would be sent to hiding the transactions. Though Mia omitted details out of fear of reprisals, the list from the courtroom featured influential people from the entertainment industry to politics. These weren't simply clients, she claimed. They were also members of the network who were involved in maintaining that basement den, a secret passage going to the basement, where scores of girls were detained in darkness while they awaited their terrible destinies, was visible in a segment of surveillance film taken from the mansion system.
Symbol of depravity. It wasn't just a place to confine those girls, it was where the Combs family buried their humanity.
Through there, shell firms, the Combs duo's shrewdness extended beyond using the girls as leverage. They created a complex financial network to launder money and conceal the source of their enormous gains, with each transaction appearing to be a genuine business deal. A music studio might earn millions of dollars for it together with the audio, recordings, and videos. These documents created a terrifying picture of a criminal network that was run with the accuracy and brutality of a large corporation. For example, a fashion company would use the money for a marketing campaign that was really payment to VIP clients, or they would record projects that never happened.